Hello there, welcome to my best of the year list. Here we go. Obviously I've changed my plan. There's a light now. after the most fun of the year turned into midnight and you could barely see my face. Which, according to one of my friends, was the best video I ever did because you couldn't see my face. So, he's a bastard. So, yes, I put one light on just so you can actually see what I'm saying. Right, I moved my Criterion videos, but when it went on Tuesday, I moved it to Sunday. So that some was moved around. I said there was only 2 more videos left, there's actually 3 after this. So it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then I'll be off till after the New Year. Since New Year comes on the middle of the week, it'll be the week after before I start doing videos probably. So I'll take 2 weeks off, you know. So I'm doing my best of the year just now, just to close it all off, and then I'll be back then basically to start doing more videos. My ambition is to, there's a couple of things I've mentioned already, and another ambition is to rewatch show and do a video on it. We'll see how that works out in January. That's the plan. Right, so these are the films I thought were the best of the year. Don't take this list very seriously, it's just my view of what the best were. They're more like, you should try and see these films because a lot of them are really good. So I hope you're taking that instead rather than, you know, I'm being really serious with this, because I'm not even putting a list down. There is one that's my best of the year, which I've already done a video on. There's quite a few other ones I've done videos on, so when it comes to that I'll be pretty brief on them. But I'll start off with the sort of entertainment ones, the ones people have probably most have heard of, really. Although for the kind of people that watch my videos, the most seemingly obscure ones is probably the ones they're more interested in. But these are the more entertainment films that I liked this year, that I really liked. I thought they were really well done. First one was Avengers Infinity War. If you're not a Marvel fan, you're not going to like this. I really enjoyed it. It was epic. It was a bit messy because there's so many characters, but a terrific ending, and was generally very entertaining. I mean, really, there was lots of really great stuff. There were some nice emotional moments. You know, it just worked. So, I don't have much to say about Avengers Infinity War though. It just worked. It really worked well. The Russos that directed it did the Captain America ones. They didn't do First Avenger, but they did Winter Soldier and Civil War. And actually, Captain America is my favourite of the Marvel movie series, which is weird because it's Captain America, but they're the best ones really. So they also did Arrested Development, and they also, as directors for TV, and also were producers on and directors on Community, which was one of my favourite TV shows of the noughties. So I really like a lot of what they did even before they went to do the Marvel films, because they have a lot of talent. But so if you have a chance to see anything by them, try and see Community episodes. Community is really good. But Avengers Infinity War was really enjoyable. Lots of great moments in it. The next one was another sequel. I mean, to be honest, most of these entertainment films are sequels. That's how weird it's got, and the sequels are more interesting than the originals at the moment. The next one is Mission Impossible Fallout. Again, I did Mission Impossible last week with the De Palma season, the first one. That's a new one. I mean, this one and Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol, the last 3 have all been really terrific entertainments. They really worked very well. I really enjoyed them. This one had some terrific action scenes in it. I mean, it was wall-to-wall action. I mean, the plot was nothing to run home about, but the action was really worth seeing, especially the big screen with the Fallout. What was I going to say? Fallout. That's the title of the film, but the high altitude, the halo jump. That was terrific. There's a terrific chase scene through Paris. Not as good as Ronin, but it was good. There was the final action scene, the helicopter chase was terrific as well. There's lots of really good action in it, and it was really well done. It was really just very enjoyable film. You know, it's one of those films I've actually watched a few times. You know, it's just one of those enjoyable. You know, it's just a really great experience. People have been saying, I've been comparing it to Mad Max Fury Road. I really like Fallout, but it's not Mad Max Fury Road level. It's really not. I mean, Fury Road's a level above this. You know, Fury Road's a level almost on itself. And if you don't like Fury Road, we'll fight about it. Okay, next is The Incredibles 2. Again, it's a sequel. Brad Bird did this one. He also did one of the Mission Impossibles, Ghost Protocol. He's done a lot of really good animated films. He did First Incredibles, he did Iron Giant, which was wonderful. He did Ratatouille, which I thought was good, but not as good as some of his other ones. I really like Tomorrowland, which no one else seems to like. So I really like Brad Bird. This one was not one of his best ones, but he's such a good professional director that even if he's not on peak, he's still very entertaining. So this is still a beautiful film, and it's still got wonderful moments in it. The weird thing though was the end of it was actually felt very much like the end of Speed 2. One of the most awful films ever made. The same ending of a ship going into land, and I'm trying to stop it. This was done a lot better. I'm sure I've mentioned that already somewhere before, but it's one of the weird things that amuses me, so I'm sure it's not the last time I'll mention that. I'm also, yeah, it's like, I was going to say something there and I forgot what it was. I'm not going to edit that out. My brain just went weird there. Sorry. Right, next one was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's terrific, it's really well done, it's wonderfully entertaining. There's 5 different Spider-Men in it, including Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man Noir. It's really enjoyable. I mean, it's all about Spider-Man, variety of Spider-Man, but it's because it's animated, you can do a lot of things you can't do in live action. So, I mean, outside the Raimi films, this is probably my favourite Spider-Man films, because, like the Raimi films, they had a sense of the absurd. They knew they were absurd films. They never had any illusions of what they were making Spider-Man films. That's it. They're trying to be heartfelt, but they're also aware of the absurdity of what they're doing. And that's what's really good about this film too. It's aware of how absurd it actually is, but it still has a joy of the Spider-Man moments, like flying through the city, learning how to be Spider-Man. So it had that nice light touch of absurdity, but heartfelt absurdity. And there's lots of great jokes in it. The action scenes really work because they're not too long. Everyone's got a point to every action in the scenes, so they don't waste your time on anything. It's like there's no overdone action. It's just like something that happens, you get some terrific moments, then they're out again, and there's more comedy or dialogue scenes, and then you're into the next action scene, but it's not overdone. It's not like every 20 action scenes. This is just a few action scenes spread out, but it's paced really well. So Into the Spider-Verse is a charming Spider-Man film. It's one of the best blockbusters. I mean, it and Avengers are the best of the superhero films this year by a mile, really. They're the two that seem to get what they're doing a lot better than the rest of them. Right, next is Upgrade. This is the last of the kind of very populist films. So if you have to write auteur stuff, we'll go into that next. Upgrade is a low budget film. It's kind of Robocop-ish, where a guy gets crippled and then they put a robotic nanobot technology onto his spine that can control his, it can connect his brain to the rest of his body again, allows him to walk, and then as the film progresses, it turns out this thing can make him be able to do a lot more, like he can become a great fighter and all the rest of it. It's all very gimmicky, but he's out for revenge against the people who killed his wife and who crippled him, and of course there's some twists and turns. There's nothing new about this film. I mean, everything in the film is, you've seen it before, but it's done really well. It's done so well that you can just enjoy it. The lead actor in it is good. I mean, one of the last thing I saw him was in Prometheus, where he played this annoying character you wished would die instantly. And this one he's really good, he's given some stuff to do. And I can't remember his name, Logan something, but he's really good in this. The characters, you feel sorry for the character, but they still allow the character to be unsympathetic at times, so it's more complicated. I mean, it is a genre movie, more above and beyond just a genre movie. It's got good ideas in it, but it's still a kind of, it shares that thing with Robocop where it knows it's a genre movie and it's having fun with the fact it's a genre movie, but it can still have it can be like the Spider-Verse, it can be heartfelt and absurd and do all that stuff. I mean, this is probably the least of all these films in some ways, because it's the most flawed of them. But I didn't want to put in another most fun list. I think it was better than most of those films. I think it was just, it's a really kind of, it's the one that kind of goes between the lists a bit, but it's really good. It's really worth seeing if you can. It's 90 minutes. It doesn't stretch your patience. It just does what it does. So on to the next one. I just tuned down, go there a little bit because I was like this, creaking my neck when I was talking, so I wasn't very comfortable. So I thought I'd rather actually be comfortable talking rather than look. So okay, we're now on to, I'll go to the kind of indie, weirder films that might not have been seen by lots of people that I thought were terrific. We'll do that, then we'll go into the other ones that you probably would have heard of. I mean, I should also say that, I should have said this earlier, there are lots of some films I haven't seen this year that, you know, may have made the list, may not have made the list. I haven't seen BlacKkKlansman, doesn't come out very well. I haven't seen Roma, it's on Netflix now, but it's Christmas and it's a black and white, 2-hour black and white film about a maid, and it's like, I want to see that, but I want to see Pussy in January rather than Christmas. It just doesn't feel a Christmassy film, so I'm really not in the mood, so I'll catch that next month. So there's lots of films I haven't seen, so yes, my list was organised as usual, as in they're not at all. Okay, so these are the more indie based ones. These didn't have much funding, not much publicity. A lot of them were well reviewed, then you forgot all about them, or the media forgot all about them because what's happening this week type of thing was like, yeah, they were last week. We said something nice then and we don't have to think about them again. Okay, so the first one is Together. I've already done a video on this. It's the Terrence Malick VR experience. Go see my video on it. It needs views. I really like that video. I think it's a quite good video I did on that one, talking about VR and how Malick used VR. It's a really terrific experience. I would definitely recommend it. It's only like 10 minutes long, but it's wonderful, so I really suggest you try and see it. It's really terrific. Okay, next is The Endless. Now, I got this from Arrow. You can also get it now on Netflix in the UK, which annoyed me because I just spent money now and find an Arrow one. But it's a good film. And actually the Arrow box set is terrific because you get the resolution of one of the other films with these people and you got a lot of extras, so Arrow things are recommended. But The Endless is terrific. I mean, I thought that the atmosphere and the interactions, the character interactions are terrific. The idea of these two guys being brothers and one's been dominant, one's been very sensitive, but they don't overdo it. I mean, it's not that they're one note, they've got different tones to them, so the sensitive one is not all snowflakey. You know, he does have willpower as well, and the dominant one isn't a jerk or anything. He just knows what he thinks, but he does have doubts. So all the characterizations are quite nice, and all the interactions where you find that the people who portray as villains might not be villains, and it's always more complicated, but they're not innocent either. Everyone's complicated, and it's a terrific film. I would say that the ending isn't as good as the rest of it. I don't think the ending lived up to what was building, but it's still a wonderful film. It's still more distinctive than a lot of films I've seen this year. It was released in 2017 in America, but we only got it this year, so it's a 2018 list. That's what the other thing is, I'm going by what was released here in the UK 2018. Some films were 2017 in America. They're still on my list because we didn't get them till this year. But The Endless is terrific. I don't want to say much about it because all I've said now is when you learn 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes of the film. Really, and there's a great atmosphere to it. I mean, it's shot in digitally, and you can tell at times, but it uses digital well because it knows its limitations, it knows how to be distinctive with it. But if you've used digital cameras, you can tell they shot it digitally. There's a certain sheen to it, it's not filmic, but it's really well done, and it's wonderfully put together on a low budget. It really deserved more attention than it got, and I'm hoping the directors get to do more films because there's something unique about them. They might not be the next Kubrick or something, but they may turn into some interesting people from the film industry, and I feel they might do a lot more interesting work. It's not on the same level of the Shane Carruth films like Primer and Upstream Colour, but they're still very distinctive and still very good. It's still definitely worth seeing. The next one is the one that was hated, utterly below. I always like to have one that's hated, critically panned on my list of best of the year because it's more enjoyable that way. And that one is Mute. That one Duncan Jones directed it. It was on Netflix, it was produced for Netflix. It came out and was roundly loathed by everybody. It was called Paceless, Derivative, and lots of other things. You know, it was really hated because Duncan Jones started with Moon, which I thought was overrated. I liked it, but it was overrated. It wasn't. You could tell what was going to happen miles ahead, but apparently critics didn't see that. Then he did Source Code, which was a good first 2/3. Then the last third fell away. Then he did Warcraft, which was hated, but I quite liked it, even though it's flawed. And then he did this, which was meant to be his comeback movie, and it turned out to be another disaster critically. I really liked it. Alexander Skarsgård plays this mute Amish guy who now lives in the city. He's trying to survive as a barman, but he comes from an older generation of who have to face the real world and have to face this corrupt future world where everything's kind of Blade Runner-ish. It's influenced by Blade Runner, but it gets into the detail of the world a lot more than Blade Runner ever did. So how do people survive in this world? So there's a lot of side plots with like Paul Rudd and his pal who is pretty much a paedophile, and Paul Rudd plays this guy with anger issues, and the mute guy, Alexander Skarsgård, is looking for his girlfriend who's disappeared, and all the stories slowly come together. But it takes its time. I mean, I think if they cut like half an hour out of it, people would like it a lot more because you would have just been going plot point to plot point. But I don't think anyone would have really loved this because this is eccentric, it's willfully eccentric, it willfully takes its time. I liked it for that. I liked soaking in the mood, and I wasn't in a hurry to get to the next plot point. I liked the characters, I liked their interaction. I liked most of the characters. Some of the characters weren't likeable, but they were very interesting. I liked the characters are meant to like. That's the best way to say it. And the other characters were really well acted, so it was all very interesting. And it was I'm trying not to say too much in case you haven't seen it and you're going to watch it, but it's definitely worth a shot. I mean, it's the film I think of a lot with this one. It was Wim Wenders' Until the End of the World. So that same sort of atmosphere of it's a near future. The main plot's the engine, but it's not the point of the film. It's all the atmosphere and flow through this atmosphere. And a lot of people hated that one too. It's the same feel to it as this, of a director following their muse, but it's not a muse people want to follow. I also want to bring up the idea of the Blade Runner references. Yeah, there's a couple of things like the flying cars, but every film now is called, oh, it's Blade Runner Light. Most films aren't, they're just taking stuff from popular culture, and Blade Runner's part of popular culture. And Blade Runner took half that stuff from other people too. Blade Runner was not the most original film in the first place. It added rain to sci-fi. There was lots of sci-fi stuff before that, a lot of those same elements. You know, so calling it Blade Runner Light is wrong. It's not, it's just influenced by certain bits of Blade Runner, but it did his own thing from that. So that's my little rant about Blade Runner. I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, I've done it a few times, so I'm sure I'll do it again. Okay, next is Blade of the Immortal. Again, I think it was released earlier. Other countries like Japan. I think it was released over here for the London Film Festival 2017, but we didn't get it generally till later. So I count it as this year. If it's not this year, I don't care, because this is not a serious list. So it's Takashi Miike. It's a samurai film, but this samurai with supernatural powers who can't get killed, and basically he's seeking revenge for this little girl whose family was killed, and he goes from killing one person to the next, and it's slowly he's getting closer to the main guy to kill, and you get lots of sequences of him being attacked and defending himself and murdering masses. It starts off with a massacre of 100 people and it ends with a massacre of over 100 people. And it's wonderful, it's way over the top. But it's also good in the scenes where Miki is with a girl, so it's not sentimental. He's pretty brutal to her at times. And she's played by the same actress who played his sister who died earlier in the film, which causes immortality in the first place, so it's more complicated than just simple revenge. Everything's based in guilt and redemption. And there's lots of other characters who have the same affect as him, and it's all very manga-ish. It's based on a comic book, comic book, and it feels that way. But unlike something like Terraform for Mars, which was this way over the top version of a manga, this one's much better, it's much stronger. It's toned down so you can follow the story, not be thinking, what the hell am I watching? Like, is he mad? This one is much better, it's much stronger, so it's definitely worth seeing. So go and enjoy it, it's really beautiful. Next is Mandy. Mandy is something I've talked about already. Nicolas Cage, Andrew Risenberg, the other guy whose name I can never remember, Linus Roach. Again, see my video, I was just say it's hard to explain, but since I've watched it I keep thinking about it. That's a really good sign, it's still in my head. So it's a wonderful film, it's definitely worth seeing. It's one of the most unique films of this year. Even if you don't love it, it's definitely worth seeing. Still want to see because it's something that's not the usual for cinema in these times. So definitely give it a shot. Right. Next is Damsel. This is the one that came and went, and I don't anyone's even heard of it for a lot of time. It was in Sundance and it disappearing. It was a quick release, then it's gone again. And Robert Pattinson's in it, and Mia Wachowski, I've butchered her name. Well, sorry. They were both together in Cronenberg's Map to the Stars, and they're back together again in this one. And basically, it's about a guy who says he's going to rescue this woman from these kidnappers, which is Robert Pattinson. He's very romantic and kind of needy and weird and just very strange. And he ends up getting together with this preacher who isn't really a preacher, he just got the costume from some preacher who shot himself. And then so they go and they rescue this woman, and it's much more complicated than you imagine. What's wonderful about this film, I'm not going to say any more than it's more complicated than I initially thought out, because it's all about changing your perspectives and things and showing you different areas you never thought of. So there are twists in the film, but none of the twists are like needy twists where it's like, this twist is the thing that will save this film. It's not, it's interesting quirks of life. That's what the twists are. It's like, I'm seeing something one way, and then you see something from a different perspective, but what they're supposed to show is the point of view of both characters, so you're clear on what their motivations are, rather than, oh, this is a twist, this is going to get you. This is not about that, this is about the characters. It's a wonderful film, it's got a lot of little quirks to it. And there's lots of little scenes with the actors, literally let the actors talk, and they get to build up a good character for a while, and you stay with them. So it's paced, for most audiences it's probably paced very slowly. I thought it was great when it's paced because you could just sit and watch these actors play these eccentric characters. And you can see where they were going with the characters, then it would develop in a strange way, in interesting ways that I can't really talk about. But go see the film, it's terrific. Again, try not to know anything about it. That's the best way I can say about it. Try and know a lot about it. Again, I'm trying to see what you've seen in the trailer. I'm trying to stick to trailer stuff here. Right, finally in this bit is You Were Never Really Here, which got some praise around the Cannes Film Festival time, and then it just disappeared off the face of the earth. Lynn Ramsey directed it. Joaquin Phoenix was the star. It's terrific. Again, it's one of those ones that's terrific, but you don't want to know much about it. You just want to see it as an experience film. You can see it on Amazon Prime at the moment. and it's just really well done. There's Phoenix is terrific. He plays this guy who's depressed and it's a bad family situation. And he plays a private detective who does jobs for a guy who is his like broker for between the clients and him. And this guy obviously does not like to be seen, doesn't like people to know who he is or anything else. And so he's a very private person. He's looking after his sick mother. Again, this is all stuff you find early on. And then things start to slowly get out of control over one of the cases he's on. So it's a private detective story, but it unravels in a way which isn't a very private detective story like. You know, so it's very kind of... It reminds me of The Long Goodbye in a sense that it takes what could be a very formulaic story and puts that odd character in the middle of it and then watches it unwind with this character and their reactions. Because I mean, Long Goodbye was based on a Raymond Chandler story, so it had a good story behind it, but it was still about the character interacting with the world that he didn't quite understand. That's the same here. But I think in some ways it's more emotional than Long Goodbye, but Long Goodbye is emotional too. But this one just was very private, but it's about this very damaged person. And you're starting to get an idea of what this damaged person is and what's his deal really, what's the situation. I mean, it's not a perfect film, there's a couple of things that feel a bit overdone. But they're forgivable in the grand scheme of things because the performance is so well done and a lot of the atmosphere and a lot of the sequences are fascinating to watch, that it's really a beautiful film. So again, I think it's been lost in the mix, really. Like some people mention it, but it's always like it's a number 10 in the best of the year list or something. I don't think it's getting the praise it probably deserves. So I'm mentioning it and I hope he's and try and see it somewhere. These are films that are a bit well known as I go towards the end of the list. You'll be glad to know. We're getting towards the end. The first one I'll mention briefly because it's been praised to high heaven. It's three billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Got a lot of awards. It's terrific. It's some wonderful characterizations, some nice twists in the tale. Again, aren't twists, they're just like character moments that develop, that take you by surprise. Frances McDormand's terrific, Woody Harrelson's terrific, Sam Rockwell's terrific. Everything you've heard about the film's true, it's terrific. It's really worth seeing. It's got it's a really good ending that's unusual for what you expect from the film. And it's a really unique film that no one's good or bad, everyone's flawed and complicated. So even the people you think are bad have reasons. And in some ways they're just uneducated and foolish and they have to learn through life what reality is. But even the characters are a bit more mature, make horrible mistakes because everyone's stuck within their own past and their own headspace and everyone's got the mistakes they're going to make that's, you know, problematic. So every character is flawed, everyone's unique. It's a wonderful film, it's really worth seeing. But again, you probably heard a lot about this film. So try and see it and try and know as lot more about it as possible. I may do a video eventually on this one, but not for a while because I think it's so overhyped at the moment that it's kind of difficult to see anything unique about it, apart from it really is worth the attention. Okay, next one is one that was dumped on Netflix. But unlike Cloverfield Paradox, this one was terrific. It's Annihilation. Now the Portman stars, Alex Garland directed it and wrote it based on a book. It was released in America. I guess a brief theatrical release in America and bombed because it was barely advertised. In the UK we got it on Netflix. I managed to see it in a PSVR cinema mode so I could see it in a big projection. That's good, because you really need a big screen for this one. Because it's a sci-fi movie going through this landscape, this changing sci-fi landscape that's been infected by something mysterious. I mean, it's very much based on Stalker. Stalker's a big influence in this film. And except there's women rather than men involved, but Stalker's a big influence. Stalker's one of my favourite films of all time. So obviously, I'm going to like this one. I mean, it's not as good as Stalker, but it's really well done. The interaction between the characters are really good. Again, they're complicated. They're not. No one's simplistically good or bad. Everyone's got their nuances. Everyone's flawed, and this landscape takes advantage of the flaws. There's Jennifer Jason Leigh is the woman who leads the party, and she's fascinating as usual. Tessa Thompson's in it as well, playing this very shy person. And there's a bunch of other women in it as well, Natalie Portman. And she's trying to find what happened to her husband, who came back from the zone very much changed and seemingly infected with someone, so she's going there to find out what happened to him. And it's all very mindfucky really, but not in a way of boo. It's more like atmosphere. You've seen the images, you try to interpret them yourself, and it's not telling you what you're meant to think. So it's one of those films you have to see, you have to go and watch it and make your own mind up about it. But it's definitely worth seeing. It's really a nice little film. I like this better than Ex Machina, which is his first film, which I thought was a bit obvious at times. Because I liked Alex Garland's still of his stuff, and he wrote a couple of films I really liked. One which was Sunshine, and also Dread, which apparently he also helped direct, like uncredited. But that's one of those weird stories no one's ever going to hear the full truth about. So this one, really terrific, really underrated. They deserved a lot more than they got. So really go see it. It's definitely one of my favourites of the year. We're now going into the ones I really, really liked. I really liked all of these films, but we're now going into like the peak. Now, next is Isle of Dogs, which I wasn't that brilliant. I liked it a lot when I saw it, but I thought it was a very disjointed when I first saw it. But it's stuck in my head since I've watched it, and it's like, it's still in my head. It's Wes Anderson's film about the dogs in Japan who are stuck in this island of trash because this cat fan has a vendetta against them. It's stop motion. And it's very eccentric Wes Anderson, but it's really well done and there's lots of funny moments. But more than that, it's this atmosphere to it it reminds me a lot of Moonrise Kingdom, is one of his other ones, which is another film that a lot of people weren't too keen on. Same with Life Aquatic. Those three films seem to have this kind of thing of, it's a good film, but there's something distancing about it. You know. And there's something weird about the atmosphere in those three films. But I really like those three films. There's something about that really fascinates me, because it's like, he's not trying to, it's not that he's trying to be cold or anything, it's just there's a different tone to the film. It's maybe not as easy to get hold of as some of his other films, and maybe doesn't connect so instantly with some of his other films like Rushmore or Grand Budapest Hotel, but there's something fascinatingly odd about them. And at this point it's the same, really. It's something that's stuck in my head since I've watched it, and now I like it a lot more than I did when I first saw it, and there's something weird about this film that's in my head. So I hope that makes sense. So see this one, it will all stick with you. It really is wonderful. Just takes, you need to let it sit in your head for a bit. Okay, next is First Man. All the Neil Armstrong going to the moon. This is terrific. Again, it didn't do that great when it was released. It's, you know, a 2-hour film about the first man on the moon, but he's portrayed as a fairly technically minded character and very unemotional, at least on the surface. But if you actually watch the film, you realise he's not. It's just he's a very repressed character. He's focused on what he's going to try and achieve. But early on, you realise he lost a child, and that closed him down a lot. But the emotions are still there. The ghosts of what happened are still in him, and that's pushing him towards this achievement. And it's also the thing the film gets. The thing the film really pushes forward. It has to jump over about 10 years. So instead of trying to make it like a drama-logue of this happened, this happened, this happened, it sticks to what affects Neil Armstrong character. This affects him, this affects him, this is where he's tied to, and these other ones, these other missions go on, but he's less involved with those, he's just doing his job. So you only get the ones that hit him home, like the first mission where the astronauts died when the fire exploded in the capsule. You have that because he knew those astronauts. You have his first mission into space, what happened there, and eventually you see the build up to the moon and all the different things they had to go through and how difficult it actually was. So what's great about the film, it shows how difficult it was to get this technology there, to get everything ready to go to the moon. It shows how complicated it was, how backbreaking it was, how awful some of the situations were, and how much they really pushed hard to get to this one location. To even though it was a propaganda tool, it meant a lot to these men. It meant a lot to the women who helped them. It meant a lot to all the country who was following this. And how terrifying space is, how just terrifying it is, how absolutely horrific it can be when things go wrong, where there's no hope and you have to try and think your way through something very complicated to have a chance of getting out of your life. And how hard it is to actually go and do that knowing those are the odds. So I think this, for like films about astronauts outside of the right stuff, this is probably the best one. You know, I'm not talking about space movies like 2001, I'm talking about actually the space program, the astronaut program. This is probably the best film outside the right stuff. And the right stuff's something different. The right stuff's takes place a bit earlier and it's all about the heroism and undercutting the heroism and showing what is the right stuff and what's the mood of the nation. This one's more private and claustrophobic, but they make a good piece together. It's like they're the two sides of the same story, but they're both terrific. But try and see the first one if you can, it's really worth it, it's terrific. Okay, next is another Netflix one. There's quite a few Netflix ones at the top. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, a Coen Brothers film. Again, I can't say much about it, you just have to go see it. It's an anthology, there's 6 stories spread out. You've got one, the first one, Buster Scruggs one's like almost a musical, a cheerful, hey I'm a western shooter and blah blah blah. It's wonderful, it's wonderfully cheeky the way the Coens can be. There's a little story with James Franco as a bank robber whose luck just gets worse and worse. There's one about a guy who's mining for gold. There's one about the wagon trains. There's a creepy ghostly one. There's one about a guy who's lost his arms and legs and he delivers Shakespearean sonnets to the Western audience. So there's lots of stories. There's like a nice gothic feel to a lot of it. It feels very much a mix of a... There was this film years ago called Grim Fairy Tales with Brad Dourif and I think James Earl Jones was the other guy in it. I think that was right. I could be wrong about James Earl Jones, but Brad Dourif was one of the ones telling stories. And that had a similar thing of like a gothic western. And this is the same gothic western idea. It's the Coen Brothers doing it, and the stories are terrific. But it's not overtly gothic, but there's some weird tone to gothic and the sense of humour. Because there's always a gothic strain running through westerns. I mean, look at High Plains Drifter, you know, a lot of Clint Eastwood films have that kind of weird gothic tone to them. And the Sergio Leone films have that kind of weird kind of sense of the past as well. And Anthony Mann films have this weird psychological horror in them. So there's always been a bit of gothic horror, or just horror, running through westerns that is unacknowledged, and this film kind of pushes a bit more than normal. And it's wonderful, it's just terrific. It's one of my favourite Coen Brothers movies, it's just so good. My favourite was the one of the prairie, Grow the Prairie. But one of the ranch guys getting them there, and one of the women. And it's terrific, it's wonderfully atmospheric. It's the one I get criticised most because it's the longest one, but I liked it the most. So I was happy for it to last as long as it did. But everyone seems to have a different, every time you read a review, there's someone, each person seems to say, that was the best one, that was the best one. So everyone seems to have a different one they like best, so that's a good sign that it worked. But it's terrific, try and see it. Right, next is Other Side of the Wind, that's the other Netflix one. It's the Orson Welles one, been put together years after his death. I did a review of this. I'd say just go see a review. It's a wonderful movie. It's very eccentric. It's very weird. You know, you can't tell if that's what he would have put together at the end, because Orson Welles has obviously been long dead, but it's taken from his notes. The same way he took, there was a Touch of Evil remaster done years ago with Walter Murch did, which he took everything from his notes and used them as a base to restore Touch of Evil. They've done something similar to this one, taking his notes and the footage and put together the way his notes suggested he wanted to put together. There's lots of rights issues with this one for years, but that's all cleaned up. They put the film together. It's wonderful, it's weird, the way only Welles could be, so give it a shot. You may hate it, you may love it, but it's worth a shot because it's something you won't see very often. Like a genius making a really weird 70s film. Okay, next, The Shape of Water. Guillermo del Toro, A Fish in Love by Women, or Women in Love by a Fish. Yeah, Fishman. It's based in Creature in the Black Lagoon. Set in the 50s or 60s. You know, Cold War's going on, you have a lot of repressed Americans who are paranoid about Russians. It's wonderful, it's very Del Toro. It's not my favourite Del Toro movie. Even of his most personal movies, I like Pan's Labyrinth more than this, and Devil's Backbone, but it's still terrific. And it's wonderful, atmospheric. It does have a fairy tale feel to it. It got the best Oscar, Best Picture Oscar, which I really liked. The fact that a monster movie got the Best Picture Oscar. That's something, that's new. So I'm really happy that worked. I don't want to say much about it because you have to see it. It's a beautiful film, but it's a film that's it's how they do a classical story. So you're gonna have to discover it by watching it, how they do things, because you'll recognise a lot of things, but it's done with some distance that makes the emotions hit home more. So they don't do a sentimental version of it, they do a version that is aware of you need a bit of distance just so you can analyse the story. The funny thing is there's also the weird influence of musicals. So you've got like one hand an influence of like European monster or European fantasy with it, which has more of a distance and more of a analytical look at the monster and what it all means, mixed with kind of the joy of something like a musical, which is a very 50s, 60s American genre. And you're kind of mixing the emotions of both of them together in this one movie. And it's something only someone Del Toro could actually do. And it just really works in this one. He really delivered. In a way I don't think his last one, Crimson Peak, delivered that way. I think that one was a bit too long and he never quite scored. This one, he just zeroed in on what he wanted to do. So you get the romance, but you also get the view of the view of the world around them, rather than just being the romance, the way a traditional film would do. So it's terrific. Try and see it. I don't want to say much more about it. Just try and see it. But this is the final one. This is my best film of the year. This is First Reformed. I'm not saying anything else about it because I've done a video. So you go see the video, and I'm running out of tape or space to record on, which also doesn't help. But I've done a video, go see the video. I can explain everything I thought about the film. It's wonderful, it's a terrific film. I just don't want to go into it now, I'd rather you just watch the other video. But that's my film of the year. It's one of Schrader's best. It's where a lot of Schrader stuff comes together. The same way as in Shape of Water, a lot of the Taylor stuff come together. Sometimes some directors miss and sometimes everything just hits. And this is one of Schrader's films that just hits, everything just combines in a beautiful film. So that's my favourite film of the year, is First Reformed. So try and see it, it's really worth it. So I hope you enjoyed the list. Again, I'll be back, give it a few more videos this week that I've already pre-recorded, and then I'll be back after Christmas or after New Year with some more. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I'll see you next year.